What's up YouTube? In today's video, I'm actually going to show you one of the things that you can do to insource your own property management. That's right, we don't outsource our property management, we actually insource it. This is something we've been doing for 20 years almost, all right? It can be expensive to outsource, plus you don't always know the quality you're going to get, but you need to make sure you have the bag of tricks for your property manager so they can do the great job in person when they are in the field, all right? So come and check out my bag of tricks that I'm just about to give my new property manager that we're in the process of hiring right now. All right, so nothing fancy, but you got to give them something to carry on in their vehicle. And there's going to be a lot of things in here. Like, they're not carrying around a whole toolbox, but we're going to be running into similar things all the time. So let me show you what we carry here, okay? So first one would be a flashlight, okay? So it's important. Sometimes you're going to be in dark spaces. You need to see what's going on. You could use a light on your phone, but it doesn't hurt to have a flashlight. Sharpie, hey, you never know when you want to write on something, leave a note. Okay, duct tape for MacGyvering things if you ever need to, and painter's tape if you ever need to leave a note for a contractor. Very important, okay? People are probably wondering why we got a laser gun for temperature in here. This is for when you have a tenant that might be complaining that it's too hot or it's too cold. You can actually verify with this, or you can also find where the hot and cold spots are. Usually in the wintertime, you're finding the cold spots up here in Canada. One of these things are great. They used to be a lot cheaper before COVID because everybody's using these to check their temperature. It should actually be used on a construction site. We have these air sponges. So sometimes you're gonna be like showing a unit that's been sitting for a couple weeks, or just, you don't wanna have the windows open because you don't wanna get broken into. It's great to have these organic air pucks in your bag. They're not that expensive, they're like $5, and we use them all the time. They're not toxic like those ones you plug in the wall, so these ones are really good. Make sure you find something locally that works for you. Light bulbs, all right? So one of the #1 reasons why apartments or buildings get broken into is because they're not lit up. So when you go to your units, or if a tenant says, hey, the light's burnt out, on the inside of their unit, that's usually their concern. That's a consumable product that they got to take care of. But in the outside, as an owner, as a landlord, we always make sure that we're the ones replacing light bulbs. And these ones are actually appliance light bulbs. They're harder to find, lower wattage, and your tenants really appreciate when they open up the fridge or the oven and they can actually see what's in there. So keep some of these in your kit. People appreciate it. Batteries. You will need batteries for smoke detector check time, which are very common with 9 volts, or AA's and AAA's for when you have to make sure that your thermostats are working, okay? So usually the property manager might be the first person on the scene before you go and call an HVAC company. So we always make sure we have batteries and a battery detector, so we can just see if it is actually a dead battery in that thermostat. I've had a couple $100 service calls, or even $150 where the guy comes out, he just pops out the battery, puts in new batteries, he's like, it was your batteries. So might as well equip them with something to check the batteries and some fresh batteries. Super important to have. Who doesn't like to have a power tool? My kids love this thing and they play with it way too much, but I'm not preferential to any brand, but sometimes you do need to drill a hole and you got to get the job done, and you're there anyways. It'll save you a call to your handyman, or maybe the handyman can't come up for a week or two and you got to MacGyver something back together. Have your drill, have some basic drill bits and stuff like that. It's important. All right, so now the smaller tools here, what we keep on hand are going to be needle nose pliers, regular pliers, like small channel locks, bigger channel locks. Now, these are mainly for plumbing, okay? So if you ever have to take off an aerator, or you need to tighten on another shower head, that's the one thing that's not in this bag. Here's a little bit of Teflon tape for when you go to put on a plumbing fixture, but it doesn't hurt to have some channel locks in your bag, and then as well a rag if you ever have to be careful on a chrome fixture, okay? An adjustable wrench, because sometimes you need to get on a nut and tighten it up. Multi, this is probably the one that gets the most use as a landlord, is gonna be your multi screwdriver, right? So we buy the more expensive ones here. I think it's called Fiskars. Yes, they're $15 or $20, but I've broken screwdrivers and stuff before. You might as well buy it once, buy it right, and then you can use all these bits for your power drill anyways, okay? All right, then we have things for your locks. As a landlord, you're gonna be running into some issues with your locks sometimes. This is graphite, so graphite is great as a lubricant. Also works great on door hinges and things like that. Your tenants will love it when you can stop their squeaking door hinges, okay? This is lock oil. So this is something you'd probably have to get from a locksmith location, but I've had situations where our locks have froze before, and this helps to keep a moisture barrier and keeps that lock working really, really well. So make sure you have this guy here. You can also have the lock de-icer, but it's not great to keep using that time after time after time. There is alcohol in there, it will dry out your lock, okay? So that's that guy there. A couple other things. For your drill, you want to have some just random screws and nails and things. Sometimes you do have to band-aid something together. And as a property manager, you will run into garbage on site, okay? So our property managers do walkarounds every week, And yes, they will find garbage that gets blown around on garbage day, or the tenant dropped it on the ground, or whatever it might be. And if you aren't cleaning up after your on your properties or after your tenants, there's this whole broken window theory that I kind of subscribe to, that if you don't take care of your property, it just gets worse and worse and worse, and it attracts, you know, probably things in your property that you don't want to have. So always keep garbage bags around, it's very important. Things will grow in the summertime, so make sure you have a pair of these snips, okay? These Fiskars are awesome, they're super sharp, super light, not crazy expensive. Things need a haircut sometimes because they do kind of tend to grow and get out of control, all right? So these are awesome. What else we have in here? You will be picking up coins once in a while. Maybe this is something that only you as the owner wants to do. You can use buckets and bags and all that stuff. We actually have these heavy duty coin bags because we do a lot of this sort of stuff. We want to make sure we have something to carry it around in. Another thing that we have here is going to be a clog opener. So we actually use the one with the shark teeth, not this one here per se, but I'd say 50% of the time this kind of clears the drain anyways, because a lot of the clogs are closer up in the drain. Saves you a service call again. I'm not giving my property manager like a huge snake to go put down drains, but if you can do a handyman fix while you're there, we'd rather do it as opposed to the tenant sometimes. So keep one of these guys in the bag of tricks. And one of the last things here are going to be some like knives, like a utility knife or something where you can cut something else with extra blades. Again, you are doing a lot of handyman work here or MacGyver type work. And if you have all this stuff in your car along with a drop cloth in case you're doing anything dirty, you don't want tenants to be complaining that you made a mess in their unit, okay? So that's a couple tips and tricks there, gang. Hopefully this saves you a little bit of time running around. What should I have? Got to go to the store. I need a tool bit. I needed this. I needed that. Just buy it once, keep it with you, put it in your property manager's car, and you'll be all set up, okay? So this is just some of the tips that we do when we insource our property management. Hopefully you like this video. Make sure you are hitting the follow button, you're subscribing, dropping a comment down below. We really appreciate it, and we will see you on the next video.